final segment is going to be fact or fiction. Tale as old as time here.
All right.
These should be good. They're not as crazy as some of the ones I've thrown to you in the past, but they might be some hot takes. So, Paul, fact or fiction, Clemson records more rushing yards in this game. Clemson is averaging 166 yards per game, and they've had 19 rush touchdowns on the season, and Notre Dame is averaging 231 yards per game, and they've had 18 rush touchdowns on the season. So, fact or fiction, Clemson records more rushing yards.
That's a good one. That's a good one right off the bat. I'm going to say fiction. I think it's close throughout most of the game, the rushing totals for each team, but I have to favor Notre Dame. I have to favor the offensive line. And overall, Notre Dame's plan of attack is to run the ball.
Yeah.
So I think that that Kyron Williams and Chris Tyree, that the volume of touches they'll have is going to exceed Clemson's touches. Even though, as great as Etienne is, you can work him into a variety of different variety of ways. And Uyunglele he can throw the ball. He's got a rocket for an arm. So I think that Clemson's going to come out and actually attack in certain facets.
Yeah, and I think too that Clemson can fall back on the pass game a little bit more. Like you said, Etienne is a dynamic receiver as well. So if his looks aren't there on the ground, he can also be a threat out wide. So I'm gonna say fiction as well. I think Notre Dame's gonna get more yards on the ground just based on the sheer number of carries they're gonna try.
And you have to also keep in mind the injuries for Clemson and who's not playing. Like Tyler Davis being out in this game, he's someone who took over the Miami game earlier in the year. He's not going to be an issue for Notre Dame. So I think the Notre Dame run defense, that D-line is healthy. Everyone's going to be there. You have to favor them in this matchup.
I like that. All right, fact or fiction number 2. The margin of victory is more than a touchdown.
Oh, man, I'm going to say fiction in this one. It would not surprise me if either team won by 10 points. This will not be a blowout game. I'd be very surprised to see a blowout. But in terms of what I'm expecting to see, close game back and forth, probably a 6 or 7 point game. So I'd put it right on that 7-point touchdown margin.
So then fiction.
Fiction.
Right under the line. Okay, fiction. I'm going to say fiction as well. I think this is going to be 3-4 point game. Keep it really close. I think it's going to be close the whole way through. All right, last fact or fiction, and this is a spicy one. This fact or fiction, this game matters.
Oh, fact. Absolutely fact. And you know what? I'm going to come back on my previous statement just now. And I'm going to say that actually Notre Dame wins this game by 10 points. So I'm going to say Notre Dame wins the game by 10.
Okay, so then fiction to the touchdown.
Fiction, yeah. So as a home underdog, a game against the backup quarterback, a lot of disrespect towards Notre Dame.
All right.
Back to your question, this game absolutely matters. Because if Notre Dame loses, first off, then it's a worry to get into the ACC championship, especially with Miami in the mix. It comes down to a coin flip, basically, at that point, if both teams were to go undefeated. And second, if you win this game and you're Notre Dame, you get the chance to play Clemson again in the ACC championship game. If you beat them, you knock them out. And you play Cincinnati and probably go to the national championship game. If you lose and it's a close game, you probably still sneak in there.
Okay.
So for Notre Dame, this game is very important. You cannot afford a loss, and a win can only put you in a good spot.
Okay. All right. Maybe you've convinced me. Maybe I'll say fact as well. So it sounds like you have Irish by 10. What's your final score prediction, Paul?
27-17.
27-17? All right. I say Irish by a million, as always. But I'm going to go with 23-17. And in honor of Lee Corzo, we have our little Irish hats here. So Irish by a million. You guys, Shamrock Sports has just been a beautiful adventure for all of us. But Paul and I in particular, we're not done yet. But the Irish got to get it done this week against Clemson. I'm Ellen Geyer, joined by Paul Farrington. Thanks for watching Shamrock Sports. We will see you next time.